Sarah Willis, winner of the 2000 Cleveland Arts Prize for Literature, has published 4 novels, including Some Things That Stay, which was a New York Times notable book and won a Stephen Crane Award for New Fiction in 2000. Sarah will introduce Thrity Umriger. Sarah, Thrity.
Thank you, Dennis. It is my great joy to present Thrity Umriger with the Cleveland Arts Prize in the category of Mid-Career Artist. Thrity is an internationally esteemed writer who uses her art to create stories that captivate our hearts. Thrity was born in Bombay, India, and moved to America at the age of 21 to earn a master's in journalism from Ohio State University. Then, while working at the Akron Beacon Journal, she attended Kent State and attained her doctoral degree. But she itched to write larger stories than could be held in a newspaper, and her first novel, Bombay Time, was published in 2001. Library Journal says Bombay Time is a startling contemporary portrait of life in a Bombay apartment house. Step by step, Thrity moved closer to Cleveland, landing here in 2002 to teach at Case Western Reserve, where she is now an associate professor in the English department. For her next book, she turned to memoir. First Darling of the Morning is an evocative and honest description of her childhood in Bombay and her path to higher education. She followed that book with the novel Space Between Us, a careful look at the staggering poverty in India and the relationship between a servant and her mistress. The Washington Post says it is intimate and compassionate. Those are 2 words I would use to describe all of Thrity's stories. Her third novel, If Today Be Sweet, takes place here, in a suburb of Cleveland. It is about family, the immigration experience, and the meaning of home. This year saw the publication of her 4th novel, The Weight of Heaven, a powerful tale of love and loss. She has just sold her 6th book, and I can't wait to read it. Thrity has been reviewed across the U.S. and the world. Her books are published in hardback, paperback, large print, Kindle, Braille, and in over a dozen languages, so you have absolutely no excuse. If you haven't yet, go read a book by Thrity Umriger. In her memoir, Thrity doesn't say that as a child she hoped to move to Cleveland, Ohio. Nor does she mention that she ever dreamed she would someday, at mid-career, have written 6 beautiful books and won the Cleveland Arts Prize. But Thrity's life shows us that everything is possible, especially when done with passion, talent, a vivid imagination, and a great deal of hard work. She has come a long way to get here. Let's give a big hand to Thrity Umriger.
It's a real medal. I don't think I've had one of these since 3rd grade, maybe. I'd like to thank the Cleveland Arts Prize for giving me this great honor. I can imagine the amount of work that has gone into making an evening like this possible, and I just so deeply appreciate it. You know, there is something about being honored in your own hometown and by your own people. And yes, all of you are my people. That's special. As the MasterCard commercial says, there's something priceless about that. I also want to thank the writers community in Cleveland, which is one of the most welcoming, warm, and talented writing communities that I've ever been part of. And it just means so much to me that they've sort of created a space and a home for me within them. I would also like to thank my colleagues at Case Western Reserve University for setting such a high bar for themselves and consequently for all of us. Most of all, I want to thank thank my family members, some of whom are here with me today in the audience. Because after all, they're the ones that put up with me when I disappear for months at a time to go live with my imaginary friends. And most specifically, I want to thank my father, Umriger, who is here with us today. I believe that everything that I am today is because of him, because of his unconditional love, and most important perhaps, the power of his example. I know you think that I'm the one that you're honoring today, but believe me when I tell you, it's actually him that you're honoring. I would not be standing in front of you if it wasn't for him. You know, I'm often described as an Indian American writer, and I guess that title fits, that's correct. Most of my novels deal with both cultures. Most of my novels spring from the soil of and have their roots in my birth country of India. But I have to say that it takes the air of America, perhaps, to make my novels breathe and also help them fly. And I just want to thank all of you in the audience today for being the air that allows me to breathe and allows me to fly. Thank you very much.
Not to belabor a point about my sacrifices for the arts, but I actually had a dream that I did go to prison when I was so valiantly defending freedom of expression in Cincinnati. The walls were covered with artwork chosen by Jesse Helms. It looked just like a Holiday Inn, but the punks were a little more comfortable. In the dream, my cellmate was tattooing his name on my shoulder while I explained to him the rich history of printmaking during the Renaissance. When he was finished, I noticed something dangling from his neck. That's right, even he had a Cleveland Arts Prize. I had no idea the Arts Prize even offered a prize for prison skin art using found materials. But there it was. I was so angry. Oh well, on with the awards.